May I request some of you to come forward, please? And please take these seats. Yes. Hello. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and a very warm welcome once again. And this is for the session on the future of livelihood creation, employability, entrepreneurship, education, employment. We will begin this session, which will be moderated by Mr. Sanjeev Bajaj, Chairman and MD, Bajaj FinServ. As the opening highlight of this, we will have the launch of the CII Rahul Bajaj Center of Excellence on Skills. May I invite Mr. Sanjeev Bajaj to give his address to this gathering.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. The seeds of the Bajaj family's business and social activities were sown by my great grandfather, Mr. Jamnalal Bajaj, treated by Gandhiji as his fifth son. Inspired by Gandhiji's ideals of self reliance, social justice, and rural upliftment, Jamnalalji dedicated his entire life and wealth to causes championed by the Mahatma, including promoting education, healthcare, especially in rural areas, and fostering self sufficiency through cottage industries. Later, my father, Rahul Bajaj, championed the idea that industry leaders have a responsibility to engage in nation building and that businesses must play a proactive role in social development through philanthropic activities and community engagement. Hence, I am glad today that the Bajaj Group is continuing with this legacy and launching the CII Rahul Bajaj Center of Excellence on Skills. Thank you. I believe that this COE can be a very powerful force in engaging and equipping our youth with knowledge, with skills, and the mindset required to thrive in the current dynamic environment. The center will offer a unique approach to skill development and promises to have a transformative impact on the lives of young India. Through a hub and spoke model, the COE will operate right across India, especially in the rural parts of the country. In addition, through a set of closely crafted global strategic partnerships and knowledge exchange initiatives, the COE hopes to cultivate a conducive ecosystem empowering industry, empowering the youth with industry ready skills, enabling them to fulfill their career aspirations in the coming years. For us at Bajaj, it's all about ensuring that industry remains not just competitive, but is also at the forefront of social progress. By nurturing skilled talent, we are not just building a stronger workforce, we are building a stronger future for everyone. Thank you. May I now request CB to come and speak?
Thank you, Sanjeev. Thank you very much. And good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, great to actually have this center launched here at the annual session. And many, many thanks. I must say that it's so great to have a person like Mr. N.K. Singh present here today with us when we are launching such an important and a very significant center. And Mr. Atul Kumar Tiwari, the Secretary, Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship, both of them here. Uh, lot of work has gone in over the last many months to see how we structure this center of excellence. Of course, Sanjeev has been of great leadership and his thoughts culminating into a center of excellence, which we are proudly dedicating in the name of Mr. Rahul Bajaj. We had the entire Bajaj family really converging to see how we can give their weight behind this a very important center, which Sanjeev spoke about. We have Mr. Pramod Agarwal also sitting here. There he is, who is one who really helped us see to it that our two organizations work together. Well, why this is significant for us? Because A, it's in the name of Mr. Rahul Bajaj, a person who has been so closely and so strongly associated with CII for decades, since it's the new avatar of CII, if one can say. The only person who has been, who was the president of the modern CII twice over, so no one else, and a huge support, a huge mentor, a huge guide to the institution forever. And his name has been pretty well uh, uh, always present in every meeting of ours since ever I remember in being in myself in this institution. So it's great to have his name now permanently etched as a part of the CII. So this center is special to us. This center will encompass a large number of centers that we have across the country. This will be the 12th center of excellence, or so to say, of CII. We have established centers on quality, on green, on sustainability, on water, on food and agriculture, and many other areas. But this is a special center, and this goes towards pretty much towards what we have been discussing since morning. This entire theme of building trust. So I think this will be the center would carry forward the corporate sector's message or the theme that we have taken upon ourselves on building trust. The third area is, of course, when we talked about India at 75, 15 years back, and when we are talking now about India when it will be 100, we have seen building skill development ecosystem to be one of the central theme when we have talked about such areas of work. For us, skills have been very special. In fact, our first foray into international skills was when we had opened, with the help of our government of India, a skill center in Afghanistan, which worked for some time. And since then, of course, we have today a large number of multi-skilling centers across the country. The aim is to build 36 centers across the country in the next 5 years through this initiative that we have. So we are signing it today. The sixth point is, we have model career centers. These are run by CII, which will be again a part of this CII Rahul Bajaj Center, which is these model career centers are basically private employment exchanges. And we have started them since 2016, and we have been providing career counseling. We have close to about 1 million youth who have gone through it, and about a half a million youth in the last few years that we have been able to find good employment since we started these centers. Today, we operate 41 such centers across the country, and we are going to add 100 more across the country to, under the umbrella of the center. Lastly, we believe that there are certain international benchmarks which we can bring in through this center, and therefore one which we have started is with an organization called because we are sitting in a hotel. I thought that we'll conclude with that particular example. It's in partnership with Ecole Hotelier de Lausanne. This is they are supposed to be they carry the expertise in the hospitality industry, so we do joint certification with them, with say a joint certification with the Ecole, with the Taj Hotels and CII. Then we have another which we have with the ITC, CII, and the Ecole Hotel, and now other hotel chains into training in that hospitality sector. I just wanted to give that example because this and many more such different sectors through international and Indian expertise we shall bring in into different sectors, both in the manufacturing and services, through this through our center of excellence. So we will be scaling these all of these type of centers to 200 such sectoral centers in the next few years to come, and therefore we do look forward working very closely with this eminent panel which is sitting over here in various capacities. We will approach and talk to them, and of course to the government through Mr. Tiwari, who has been graciously giving us lots of inputs and ideas over many years. So once again, ladies and gentlemen, it's a very happy moment for CII to be collaborating to bring up this center, the CII Rahul Bajaj Center on Capacity Building and Skills. Thank you.
Thank you, CB. Can I request Dinesh, President CII, for his address?
Sri N.K. Singh, Sri Atul Kumar Tiwari, Sri Sanjeev Bajaj, Chandrajit, other panelists of the session. First of all, let me add my personal congratulations, Sanjeev, on the implementation of this cherished dream. Your father would have been proud and happy that CII is now associated with this landmark initiative. So thank you for that. The significance of skills in shaping livelihoods cannot be overstated. And this year, specifically for us, livelihood has been a key focus. So I'm indeed very glad that this center has been opened in this year. In fact, skilling in rural India is paramount for not just economic empowerment, but also making sure that we equip the rural communities with relevant skills, with entrepreneurship abilities, and enhanced livelihoods. Therefore, bridging the rural urban divide. For us, it is very important to have sustainable development, and that's also one of the core focus areas which I'm sure this institute will further support. I always advocated that providing skilling, upskilling, and reskilling, it is also necessary to map the aspirations of today's youth with their abilities. And centers like this will ensure that a fulfilling career path is made available for them. Today, the establishment of a skill center is not just an initiative. It is an institution and it's an investment in India's future. That's why this is a very significant step forward for us. Considering the panelists sitting on the dais, I would just like to end with making one specific point, which is how do we look at building even further? India has a human capital resource of the world by having cross-border mobility of Indian workers and tailor the skills to the needs of not just India, but also the other developed economies of this world, for which I think a universal labor information system, as well as data on what skills will be required to supplement through this center, will be something which I guess we can look forward to implementing through this. Once again, thanks and congratulations, Sanjeev, and thank you for this initiative. Look forward to working and making it successful.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are pleased to announce the exchange of MOUs between the Bajaj Trust and the Confederation of Indian Industry. And for this, I would like to invite on stage Mr. Pramod Agrawal, Chairman, Bombay Stock Exchange, to join the dignitaries for the MOU exchange. Can we have you here, sir? May I request the dignitaries for the MOU exchange to come forward, please? May I request all the dignitaries to please join the thing, please, for the photo op. Yes. And that, ladies and gentlemen, calls for a round of loud applause. May I now request Mr. Sanjeev Bajaj, Mr. R. Dinesh, and Mr. Banerjee to launch the center by pressing the remote. Yes.
India, the world's fifth largest economy and poised for further growth, is ready to develop a future ready workforce for the rapidly evolving employment landscape and rising demand for skilled talent. A strong foundation has been created by CII for building a robust skill development ecosystem through many on ground initiatives. As a catalyst, CII has been equipping India's talent through skilling, reskilling, and upskilling, seamlessly integrating youth into the dynamic demands of the workforce. For decades, late Sri Rahul Bajaj inspired CII's thought process as a guiding light and committed mentor, building on his vision and aspirations. CII is launching the CII Rahul Bajaj Center of Excellence on Skills, which will stand as a beacon in the skilling domain. To scale up these initiatives, CII is instituting a new age center of excellence which aims adds impetus to employability of youth, impacting 10 million youth in the next 5 years. This scaling up will be enabled through a phygital platform with a multilingual portal and an app, boosted by a pan-India presence for better outreach of services, equipped with in-house sectoral technical experts, and operating from industry sectoral centers, embodying industry excellence and a commitment to nurture a future-ready workforce. The center will unlock avenues towards increased productivity and map emerging job roles, creating benchmarks for future excellence through industry-aligned curriculum and quality certification. The Center of Excellence will aim to create internationally benchmarked specialized job roles. The center will scale up across India through the various on-ground initiatives, multi-skill training institutes, model career centers, and industry sectoral centers. The Center of Excellence will work in a hub and spoke model pan India and will cater to the training needs of key high growth sectors. The Center of Excellence will be headquartered in Pune with state of the art infrastructure and high tech AI driven sectoral training labs, laying the robust foundation for young Indian workforce, equipping them with global skilling standards, digital skills, international pathways, and lifelong learning. The Center of Excellence will also host high tech AI driven labs on key sectors like manufacturing lab, healthcare, financial services, hospitality, IT, ITES, and UI UX, automotive, and also on drone technology. The CII Rahul Bajaj Center of Excellence will embark on a collaborative journey and partner with countries and international organizations to leverage their best practices to create an agile, future ready talent pool. With this Center of Excellence as a vibrant node, let's all converge together and set the pace for India's robust growth with a skilled workforce.
Thank you, President. Thank you, CB. Congratulations, Mr. Bajaj. Congratulations, CII, for this awesome new project that we've embarked on. I'd now like to invite Mr. Sanjeev Bajaj to take forward the session on future of livelihood creation, employability, entrepreneurship, education, employment. May I request you, sir, to please take the session forward.
Distinguished guests on and off the dais, ladies and gentlemen. Warm welcome to this next session. Now, this session focuses on a matter which we know is of significant national importance. We are here to really deliberate on the blueprint of a future India, one with a tremendous opportunity for growth, even today as the fastest growing large economy in the world, and which we believe is only the starting point of so much more to come. But at the heart of this ambitious opportunity lies the challenge of developing an ecosystem that is conducive for catalyzing our growth aspirations. And to my mind, the key to address this challenge lies in what I would like to call the four E's: employability, education, employment, and entrepreneurship. Employability will always be at the heart of growth. And while we have a large workforce, what is important is that our current employability rate of our youth stands only at 51.25%. So we have to ensure that we work in a number of areas to improve that. And let me touch upon a few of them. One, we must accelerate existing interventions and mechanisms to prioritize skilling through vocational and other forms. And the launch of the COE for skilling is exactly towards that. Because we have to have a workforce that not just possesses theoretical technical competence, but also practical skills so that they are ready for employment when they get out of colleges. Second, it's very important, as so many of us understand, to revamp our education system at all levels: primary, secondary, and then higher education, so that our youth are equipped with the knowledge and skills required for the next decade and more. Our national education policy is a commendable step forward, and we have to ensure that we support it with the right level of skills, capabilities, certifications to make it a true reality. I also strongly believe that we need to establish institutions in India which are as good as the Ivy League colleges. And the recent praise from, again, the recent Prime Minister of Singapore for our IITs and IIMs underscores their vital role in providing skilled talent not only to India but also to the world. Third area is that the entire employment landscape is undergoing tremendous change, driven by automation, artificial intelligence, and globalizations. Now, while these present challenges, but they also create new opportunities for growth and for prosperity. And here, we cannot ignore and should not ignore the potential of the gig economy. It's an economy that provides significant opportunity, quadruple employment, to offer flexibility and autonomy to those workers who may not want a regular 8-hour workday. How do we ensure that we find ways to unleash their full potential through the right, robust policy frameworks and ensure fair compensation, the right and adequate types of job security and benefits? Lastly, focusing on an entrepreneurial environment will spur job creation, transforming many of the job seekers into job creators. India is already the third largest startup nation in the world, and we can start to see early green shoots of the benefit of that. In conclusion, addressing the challenge before us requires a multifaceted approach that will focus on enhanced employability, revamping education, creating new types of employment opportunities, leveraging the gig economy, and fostering entrepreneurship. With that, we will start by our panelists making opening remarks. I'll just go over there to continue that. And then we will, of course, get to a Q&A session with them. May I start by requesting Sri Singh for his opening remarks?
Well, thank you very much. Thank you, Sanjeev. I really value this opportunity because, as you said in passing to me while inaugurating the center, that I had known Rahul for a very, very long time. So, the first thing that came to my mind, Sanjeev, was that what would Rahul have done if Rahul would have been here at the launch of this center of excellence? But the first thing that comes to my mind, what Rahul would have done, is what Rahul was always known for: candor, a degree of frankness, and a degree to brush off what somebody else thought of his candor and saying it sometimes in a manner which was really very direct. It is very difficult to emulate that particular precept and that particular trait of Rahul. But he would certainly have applauded very greatly the launch of this center. And having been closely associated with Rahul for decades and decades, it is indeed, let me begin by saying what a privilege it is for me to be present here on this occasion. Now, Sanjeev, you have touched on many aspects of skilling, on employability. So I'm going to make only four very brief points. First and foremost, clearly, we are India with 1.4 billion people with rapidly declining age dependency ratio. Our principal challenge today is how do you combine high rates of economic growth with high rates of employment? This is easier said than done. Because for exactly the reasons which you mentioned, Sanjeev, artificial intelligence is really creating a situation where a lot of the skills which we have is being rendered irrelevant every day. I was in Washington, D.C., having dinner with my good friend Larry Summers, with whom I had the privilege of writing the two reports on the reform of the multilateral development system and the international financial architecture. I asked Larry, what is keeping you busy these days? He said, oh, NK, it's a different story altogether. What is keeping me busy is that I have recently joined the board of OpenAI, and I'm now helping Sam Altman in the general OpenAI into pursuing everything which is at the cutting edge of enhancing productivity and of improving the next generation and the thrust of the next generation of change. So there we are with the 4 Omni, which is present, represents the background of the sort of challenges, some of which you addressed, Sanjeev, in your speech. But as we look now more closely in granular terms, from where will skilling and employability come? We must address where they are, because unless we do that, I think that we will still be talking in terms of generalities and enabling us to be overcome by the challenges more than by the opportunity. So I see 4 important areas which will remain critical. First, I think we have very inadequately focused on green jobs. Take, for instance, one anecdotal example: the speed with which the cost of energy is coming down. When solar power is dramatically cheaper than fossil fuel power. When wind power and with the ability to be able to look for innovative means of financing would enable us the creation of green jobs which will really stay for us, which will not be threatened by the transformational changes. The productivity can be enhanced. Currently, alas, in India, directly connected to the green jobs, we only have about 25 million people engaged in green jobs. Clearly, this will have to be several hundred million people in a very short period of time if we harness the possibilities of green jobs emanating out of renewable energy, emanating out from solar power, wind power, hydrogen, green energy, and the entire changes in the ecosystem. We need to harness this potential. Second, as we go forward, Sanjeev, clearly agricultural practices which we have pursued need a fundamental change. Whether we like it or not, whereas the share of agriculture to the GDP has rapidly come down now, fact still remains that it provides direct or perhaps non-agricultural activities, if you add them, 45 to 50% of people are still engaged in agriculture. Agriculture and the transformational changes in agriculture be aligned itself with the challenges of creating creative employment through non-agricultural activity as we make a changeover to lifestyle, to agricultural practices, crop diversification, and harnessing the potential which it has to be consistent with the needs of green agriculture, sustainable agriculture, and how we can harness the national innovations in climate resilient agriculture, which the government has launched, which needs to be substantially multiplied in multiple ways. Third, I think that I see Puneet Chatwal here. He is the chairman of the Tata Group of Hotels. No one is better placed to talk about the potential of what tourism has in terms and the hospitality sector has. The Prime Minister, while addressing the recent meeting of the Reserve Bank of India on an iconic year which it has achieved, went out of his way to emphasize that India has a huge potential, an unexplored and unexploited potential for tourism as the biggest multiplier for employment and tourism. I know of no other activity where the capital employment ratio is more favorable than in terms of tourism. Tourism of multiple kinds, tourism, spiritual tourism, religious tourism, tourism where this country has an unexplored opportunity. What are the hurdles? Well, Puneet will tell you more about the hurdles of the hospitality sector, but let me point out four important ingredients. First, I ask myself the question, has tourism received the kind of political attention which it deserves to receive? The people who are in charge of the Department of Tourism, do they have the sufficient political clout or heft to bring about changes which are basic? Long time ago, I recalled that a gentleman called Andre Malraux who had written this famous book, Voices of Silence, and was the Minister for Tourism and Culture of France. He was directly accountable to the French president. I think that the tourism minister needs in some way to be supervised more directly with the highest political authority to be able to give tourism the kind of political heft. While we talk of tourism potential, India remains one of the most expensive tourist destinations. You look at comparative tourist destinations, look at Philippines, look at Thailand, look at Southeast Asia. It's much cheaper. You go there, getting much greater value than India. Why? That, I think, deserves a relook. For instance, why can't we give infrastructure status to tourism? It is a no-brainer. Why can't we revisit taxes, the entire regulatory framework? The framework, although it has to be in the state list, there are certain forms which requires the responsibility of both the center and the states in a manner where we can achieve a cohesive purpose by having a framework which enables this to receive the highest kind of attention. Fourth and finally, I think you have touched on this, Sanjeev. Can we alter? We all applaud that after a very long time, we have had a new education policy. This is certainly more imaginative new education policy. It enables you to have a multiplicity of choice. It enables you to do banking of your credit. It enables you to transfer credits. It enables you to harness your potential more innovatively than the old methods. Yet, day before yesterday and the day before that, as India celebrated the fact of how many of its boys and girls achieved 99 or even 100% in the last examination, did we ask ourselves the question that how many of them have received an education which makes them not only exceedingly well qualified academically, but makes them employable? Can we blend a comparative culture in our educational system with a culture of employability? This is easier said than done. How do we factor academic excellence with employability in fundamental changes in the pedagogy, in the manner in which skill is inculcated at the school level and at higher levels? And this is going to be an ongoing challenge. So, revisiting the entire educational pedagogy of, while fostering a comparative culture in a culture which seeks employability. This is also an ongoing challenge. Thank you very much, Sanjeev, for this opportunity.
Thank you, Mr. Singh, for those key 4 points. May I now request Sri Tiwari, our Secretary from Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship, for his opening comments.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It is with a sense of humility and some amount of trepidation that I stand before you to share my ideas on the topic today, especially in the presence of a person of eminence like Mr. N.K. Singh and the corporate leaders and industry greats like Mr. Bajaj and others, and the eminent panelists. Mr. Bajaj, in his comment, highlighted about the 4 E's. Maybe I have a small quibble here. I would like to say that you should start with the education first, then employability, then entrepreneurship, and then the employment. Why I say that, I will explain in a few moments. I would like to confine myself on the 4 parts. First is that how the skill is getting the attention that it deserves. It is because by skilling, we increase the productivity of the individual and the household. We make them employable, the individuals, and we also increase the competitiveness of the economy. And there have been studies by the World Economic Forum and others which clearly indicate that the skilling as a factor has a huge role to play in the country's GDP. I would like to quote here the World Economic Forum's one study. We say that countries like India, if they go for upskilling and reskilling itself, the GDP will grow by 6.1%. Second, skilling is getting embedded in the public discourse. We see skilling as a great point, great input, and the skilling is getting emphasized in the budget, as well as any department which we meet around. They like to work with us on the skilling. Whether it is the green hydrogen, when we're talking about the MNRE, whether we're talking about the water supply schemes, which is the Jal Nirmal Yojana, or the skilling of the people how to repair the water supply assets in the villages, or we're talking about the Surya scheme, where the idea is to have solar panels on the households, on the roofs of the houses, or we have the PM Vishwakarma scheme, which is about the 18 trades and how the skilling only will lead to credit flow to them, or any other scheme where PM Janman, which is about the particularly vulnerable tribes. So we find that we are being assailed by the different ministries and departments to work with them on the skilling side. I'm very happy that in the CII Annual Business Summit also, a special session has been made for the skilling, which underscores the point that the skilling is the enabler for our country to develop and do better. Second point I would say is that what is the framework which we have created? As was mentioned by Dr. Singh, Mr. Singh, and Mr. Bajaj also. First of all, we have to handle the education system. It is from the education that we get a large number of young people, and NEP is again a framework, and it needs work so that we bring the ideals of the NEP to the ground. I would just like to mention 2 points. If we believe that the skilling or vocational education is very important for the education per se, then we have to do 2 things. One is that we have to bring education into skilling, and we have to bring skilling into education. How do we bring education into skilling? That we do it by being the credit framework, which has just been brought out, and for the first time that the people who are getting skilled, either way of hands-on experience or or working on a traditional trade for a long time, or having been employed for a certain particular skill, they are allowed to be given credit, which is made equivalent to the credit which we get through the academic framework. So idea is that we bring the skilling and education on a common platform so that they can be traded together, they can be seen together, they can be made portable. It also gives certain aspirational value to the skilling because people find its use. And as was mentioned by Mr. Singh about the multiple entry, multiple exit, you enter into the education, you do the skilling, you go to the employment, again you come back, and there is a mechanism where all the credit will be uh, kept, the cord will be kept, and based on the credit, you move further in your life. Second aspect is how do you bring skilling into education? And that is being done through the National Credit Framework. And we have been working under a common minister, which we have for the education as well as skill development, a lot with the Department of School Education and Literacy and Department of Higher Education, with the UGC, with the AICT, NCVT, CBSE, and all that. And there a huge amount of work has happened where the scaling right from class 6, how it will move, how it will go for 9 and 10, 11 and 12, and how does it lead to the credit and also an appreciation for the skilling or the vocational education as a part of the curriculum itself, which will be assessed properly. We have also worked a lot on what kind of skilling should be given, what is the demand there, and we have the sector skill councils. We have associations like CII, FICCI, etc. They also give us the data, and we project what is the demand in a particular sector, what kind of skilling would be required, and we have almost 5,000 such job roles which are available, which were further rationalized. We have brought the employability skills as part of that. We have we have brought the OJT as part of that. In a way, we have improved the kind of skilling which can be provided, part of the skilling development framework. And lastly, we also have the Skill India Digital Hub. I request all the ladies and gentlemen to have a look at the Skill India Digital Hub, which is freely available on WhatsApp in your app store. It provides an end-to-end solution about if I am a candidate, what kind of courses I would like to have, what is my aptitude, where should I get it, what credit will give it to me, which job areas are greater demand which I can choose. So in a way, we say it is a UPI of skills which is made available. And as more and more industries and common people join with it, it will get further perfected. So the one way we have this one side is the education and skilling coming together on the common platform, digital platform. And then we have next point I'd like to mention is the kind of the collaborations which we are doing with the industries. Mr. Bajaj knows we have a MOU with them on the FinServe on how to bring young people into that financial services sector. We have just had a MOU with the Mahindra groups. We are working with the Tatas who are making us redesign and improve our ITIs and skilling centers. So I can quote, we are working with the Microsoft, Adobe, and for the future skills. So idea is that we move ahead with as much collaboration as possible so that we are able to meet the demand of the industries for the skilling side. Finally, I would like to say that I'm very happy that on this annual business summit also witnessed opening of a skills center of excellence. And I hope and pray that all such annual business summit organized by CII would have one outcome, which will be having more skilling centers, and we can see a thousand skill centers bloom all over India, catering to the different demands, different sectors, but ultimately helping our young population to upskill themselves so they become productive and employable. On the other side of the entrepreneurship, we have made as a part of our design of the skilling that just by giving them skilling is not enough. We also have to do the hands holding and giving them financial digital literacy so that they are more and entrepreneurship is model is they are also able to become entrepreneurs. And finally, on the on the employment side, we hope that the kind of the policies that the government is following will have more public private sector investment, and as and when the jobs increase, despite the fact that there is a tendency, as was provided by Mr. N.K. Singh, that on the one hand, we want to increase employment and we want to also increase the economy, and the artificial intelligence and other such technological devices may lead to less employment generation. I think the answer would be that we need to reskill and upskill our existing population. And it is here that the industry need to come forward and have designed their own systems so that the existing workforce is also upskilled. Finally, as part of this skill development and entrepreneurship ministry, I would urge all the industry leaders here to associate with us. We will also like your inputs as regards the job roles or the skills which you require, want the where we can use your premises for the on-the-job training, how we can link our existing ITIs and training institutions for these on-the-job training and dual system of training, as we call it. And we'd also like to have your support in having or in generating a large pool of trainers and helping us in doing a proper assessment. I'm very happy that CIE has organized this on livelihood creation with this very important 4 points. In a way, they sum up the transformational journey that India has set for itself. And I think it is all our bonded duty to contribute to it in whatever way possible, keeping this skill as the cornerstone of our policy. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Namaskar.
Thank you, Shri Tiwari. We have four more speakers. If I could request you all for concise opening remarks, so we hopefully get chance for a few questions. Next, may I invite Nicole, who's the Global Future of Work Leader at Deloitte Tomatsu Consulting, Japan, for her remarks, please. Sure, go ahead.
It is such a pleasure to have the opportunity to be a part of such an important conversation and with such an esteemed group of panelists. I think it's important to first recognize that we have embarked on a new boundaryless world of work. where work is no longer predictable, stable. We can no longer manage our work and workers just through the construct of a job. And many of our workers are no longer those on balance sheet employees doing a lot of their work in an on site environment. It's a dynamic environment where we have skills, ecosystems, technology intersecting, and importantly, workers all around the world reevaluating what's important to them in their life and what that means to what they need, want, and expect from work and their employers. We see as all of this is evolving, 6 shifts that are really shaping and how the future of work is transforming. The first, the shift from jobs to skills, the shift from employees to workforce ecosystems, from automation to augmentation, from culture to microcultures, from engagement, and this is my favorite, to human sustainability, and from productivity to human performance. Now, as these shifts continue to accelerate, our Deloitte research has shown that only 10% of people believe that their organization is leaving the humans that it touches better off as a result of every interaction. We still have 40% of our workers wanting to leave their jobs. Here in India, it's 80%. 60% quiet quitting, not engaged, not productive at work. And then we have 75% of our employers that can't access the talent and skills that they need to be able to do today's work, let alone the work of tomorrow in an AI powered world. Alarmingly, less than 10% of our workforce today have the imagination and curiosity that is needed to keep pace with the rapid advancements that we're seeing in AI and tech innovation. Of course, we still have 60% of our workers in the informal sector without social protection, 80% of jobs created for women in the informal sector. And let's not forget that 3/4 of our young people don't have the skills to be employable. Layer on that the well-being, the mental health emergency that we're seeing. Our Deloitte research showing that women are more stressed today than they were a year ago. Gen Zs, millennials saying that they're stressed all or most of the time. And even 75% of C-suite executives saying that they are considering leaving their job for one that will better support their well-being. And the cost in the US annually, $1.8 trillion due to burnout. In the UK, a half of all working days lost are lost to work-related stress. I could go on and on. But the point is, we can turn all of these challenges into a future of hope and possibility by embracing a more integrated and holistic approach to our 4 E's: employability, education, entrepreneurship, and employment. Focusing on skills beyond the job, competencies beyond the degree, looking beyond the socio-economic, the education, the work experience background that an individual has, and focusing on harnessing their capabilities, the potential, the passion that they can bring today, tomorrow, and beyond. But this will take collective action across business, government, civil society to redesign, realign our lifelong learning, employment, education models to those shifts that are transforming the future of work, to ensure that we bridge the gap that we're seeing between education and employment, accelerate the transitions from the formal to the informal economy, and create equal access to all to be able to engage in decent work and contribute to society in a meaningful way. Together, we can make work better for humans and humans better at work and drive the social, economic, and environmental outcomes that we all aspire to help pave the path for a more sustainable, equitable, and inclusive future. The opportunity is ours, and I truly believe the moment to act is now.
Thank you, Nicole. Let me now move on to my friend Puneet Chatwal, the MD and CEO of Taj Hotels.
Thank you, Sanjeev. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon, friends. Now that he said Taj Hotels, I have to first say welcome to the Taj. Let's get a little bit of smile on the faces. Everybody looks so serious. It's an important subject, and I am a child of somewhat part of skilling, and a part of it was done in this hall. See, this hotel was built around 83, and to earn our pocket money, I used to lift a lot of tables and chairs in this very hall, and we used to load the trucks to get to the Nehru Stadium, where at that time, in that year, the day-night cricket matches had started. So we got money for it. We got to interact with the players. We got to see the match, and we had free food and whatever soft drinks were served. So it's not as dramatic as it sounds. One could even say it's not only livelihood; it's pretty thriving livelihood that got created because of this sector. Just a little bit on the context setting. I think we have in India a very young population. It's already written in the brochure. 65% of the people under the age of 35. The median of youngest age to be achieved in the world by 2030. In terms of entrepreneurs, 100 uh, billion plus has been collected in unicorns, which have also exceeded 100 plus unicorns since 2015. Uh, Employment, yes, it's a challenge when the country is growing at this rate, and the matching of the skills, as I think was mentioned by an earlier speaker. And I think the list can go on. One big opportunity, and I have to thank Mr. N.K. Singh for mentioning it so strongly, is tourism. In a newly independent India, post independence, when the concurrent list was made for the constitution, tourism could not have been a priority. So we had the first quarter century, which somebody I met recently, he compared it to the real social reflection which is seen in Bollywood movies. So he said the first 25 years, pardon for me for the people who are not familiar with Bollywood, but he compared it to the movie Upkar, Mere Desh Ki Dharti, right? And then came the next turn with the angry young man of Diwar. Then came the third feel good factor with people going traveling to Switzerland, not just to Hotel School of Lausanne for certification, but like Dilwale Dulhaniya Le Jayenge. And more recently, Zindagi Na Milegi Dobara. So when they say your sector is thriving, you're charging heavy rates or high rates, like it is booming. No, it's not. It's a socio-economic change that the country is going through. So if your per capita income rises beyond $2,500 and goes to 5,000, the disposable income will increase. If that will increase, the sector will turn into a consumption sector. Is a journey that we have embarked upon. It's going to happen. Now, I personally think that we should count tourism, hospitality, and airlines as one because they belong together, and at some point they were even clubbed together in the government. This sector, whether we want to agree or not, I can tell you is going to contribute in high double digits to India's GDP growth. Globally, 1 out of 10 jobs come from tourism. I see no reason why they should not happen in India. And out of 1 out of every 4 new jobs created in the world comes from this sector. And it creates jobs in every nook and corner of the world. And this is going to come here. It cannot be you become the fifth largest economy, aspiring to become the third, and maybe next year, well positioned to be number 4, but the rest does not come. It's just a matter of time. It will catch up. And we should look at it as a big, big opportunity. And as Mr. N.K. Singh said, we should get a full infrastructure status. It is in line with what the government has done is absolutely phenomenal. With all the 6-lane highways coming up, with the renaissance of the train station, with the so many airports coming in, the rest has to come. It will be alignment in the strategy. It will be an alignment in the opportunity to create more skilling. And very quickly, I think we tend to forget that two of the airlines alone in India have ordered more than 1,000 planes. All those seats are also coming. And the ability of this sector to create a multiplication of jobs does not exist in any other sector, as fancy as they may all sound. But this sector can create jobs in retail, it creates the limousine drivers, it creates the vegetable supplier, it creates, you name it, and you have it. The Shikarawala in Kashmir, and the Dal Lake, or the Rickshawala in Banaras, they all get jobs. But unfortunately, the way we count and we create the statistics, that does not get counted, but that does not mean it does not exist. So I think uh, in in summary, and to sum it up in a very simplistic form, this is a very good opportunity for the country going forward. It is no more just a leisure sector. When I was growing up, we had the parents LTC and went and stayed with relatives. Those days are gone. It's people want to take long weekends. They go and stay in hotels, and hotels do not mean luxury, although we can say we will provide you all the possible luxury over the next 2 days. And please look forward to the reception this evening. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Puneet. Let me now move over to Sonia Janahi, who's the founder and CEO of Maya La Chocolaterie, as well as board member of the Bahrain Chamber of Commerce and Industry and a member of the governing body of ILO. Over to you.
Thank you so much. First of all, congratulations, Sanjeev, on the center. Amazing job, and we look forward to see many more of such centers all over the world. If I start at the ILO level, which is the largest and highest body related to labor organization, the ILO today has a strategy on skills and lifelong learning aimed by 2030. And their focus is basically to make sure that individuals and societies are empowered to be able to sustain and go through all the difficulties that are happening in life. So that's the highest level. But let's hit a break and take a back step. What about the mindset? How are we going to modify the mindset of people? When we have still countries that they consider people who are failures in academic schools need to go to vocational schools. Now, that is the first step where the problem is. Having skills does not mean a person is a failure. Having skills does not mean the person is academically not qualified. That mentality, that notion, that perception has to change. And if we start changing that, starting from our homes and encouraging our children to consider how they can develop their skills, then we can change the mindset of the future generation. Having skills does not mean you're less than anybody. Having skills does not mean you're not qualified to have a proper job. If I'm a doctor and I'm having a patient on my operating table and the electricity goes off, I need an electrician to come quickly and save the day for me. So in the end of the day, it all goes together. Each career has its own respect and has its own position and has its own need. So the mindset has to be changed, and we need to stop encouraging our children to be doctors and architects and engineers. And we need to start from school, creating and instilling in them the behavior of skills. And it doesn't happen if we have separate schools. We have academics and vocational schools. We need to revamp our education system to bring the two together, so we start from an early age as KG kids, giving them that opportunity to see which skills they are good at, what they can flourish in. Today, the highest paid jobs are chefs. My colleague from the Taj can say that. Being a chef is art. It's about creating art. It's like painting on a canvas. And that's how expensive the job of a chef is. And I encouraged my daughter to become a chef, but she decided to be a psychologist, and she's still making good money now. So this is where we need to step back and do that. So, if we want these centers to be successful, if we want these centers to have the right quality of people, we need to change mindset. We need to change cultures. Second thing I want to focus on is the orange economy, the creative economy. And the creative economy is primarily focused on skills. And this is where we have art, we have technology, we have creativity coming and being inspired. And this is all skill related. And today, orange economy is representing a big percentage of all the businesses that are available in all economies, and they are contributing greatly to the GDP. They are creating jobs, opening opportunities for employment. They are adding value to the GDP. They are enhancing tourism, and they are even encouraged and also contributing to export and creating bilateral opportunities between other countries. And these orange economy sectors are actually micros, productive families, I should start with, productive families, micro businesses, small businesses, medium businesses, which in many countries they represent 98% of the business community. And their contribution cannot be undermined, their contribution cannot be undervalued. All these factors put together today add value and enhance and gives you that opportunity. I want to tell you a story about myself. I'm the eldest of five, and my father had a construction business, and I'm a girl, a woman. So when I was 8 years old, and when I had my weekend, I had 2 days weekend. I was in Sacred Heart School, so I had Friday and I had Sunday. So Sunday was for my father, and Friday was for me. Every Sunday at 6 o'clock, my father used to take me with him on his construction site to learn how piling is done, to learn how foundation is done when he's building a high-rise tower. And I once sat there and asked him, but why aren't you bringing my brother? And he said, because you're the eldest. I said, but I'm a girl. He said, gender does not have any factor in this. You're the eldest. It is your responsibility to ensure that your brothers and sister know that getting skills is the first step to developing your career. And this is how you become a leader. This is how you learn teamwork. This is how you respect. Thank you. You have respect for your coworkers, regardless of what job they're in. And this is where you see everybody even, regardless if you're a CEO or if you're that person that's actually mixing the cement on a construction site. So basically, in a nutshell, we need to change mindsets to create that respect for people who get, that are creative enough to have skills, because honestly, we cannot live without them. We need them every day in our life. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sonia. That was a great story. Over to you, Marco. He is the chairperson of Regenesis Business School, South Africa, for your comments.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm cognizant of time. I know we are running late, so I'll be very brief. So I would like to make 4 points. One is about improving education system. One is about talent and winning war on talent. One is about opportunities in Africa, and one is about government. So in terms of education, it's a complex problem to solve. But basically, we have to improve both quality and quantity of education. We have to use technology to improve quantity of education. We need to democratize education and to enable education in rural areas and to masses, and also to drive cost of education by using technology. In terms of quality, we need to provide relevant education which is required for new digital economy. And we need to develop a new type of type of leaders, more conscious leaders, more holistic, holistically developed, because most of the problems we have today in the world are related to leadership. If you look at all the wars, unemployment, and diseases, and it's all human-made. And unfortunate thing is that these leaders are, most of them are graduates from these Ivy League universities, which produce leaders which are not conscious, which doesn't have a spiritual intelligence, emotional intelligence, the rest, The quality of education is very important because knowledge is power. Power in the hands of people without morality, without ethics is dangerous, like atomic energy. We need to incorporate entrepreneurial type of skills in early type of education, because ultimately we want to create an entrepreneurial society. Economic development and job creation, and all of that is possible only through building small businesses and entrepreneurs. So we have to make entrepreneurship popular, and entrepreneurs must become role models in society. Second point is about war on talent. I think if India is going to upset or overcome or become win some of these global economies and become like 4 and 3, USA, China, Japan, and Germany. India will have to win war on talent. It's unfortunate that there's 100,000 people, 1 lakh people every year leave India and go to USA, Canada, Australia, and all the talent ends up in those countries. That's the reason why those countries are successful in a new digital world. So all these investments, billions and trillions of dollars India invests in education, ends up in developed world. And now Silicon Valley is. I was in Silicon Valley last year, and I noticed Silicon Valley is actually run by Indian people. So we need to see how do we bring the talent back to India, and how do we bring CEOs, the heads of Google and Microsoft back to India to bring the talent. So it's really about war and talent. It's a multi-trillion industry. Australia used to be number 3 export industry, international education. So India also needs to bring back and bring foreign students, to India, bring the talent. It's really all about people and talent. In terms of government, government role is to create enabling environment, to liberalize education, to promote research, innovation, and investments, and taxes, to reduce taxes for startups, and to really create entrepreneurial society and entrepreneurship. So government has to play a major role. But, it's all about execution. We all know. I looked at the education policy of India. It's common say it's a good policy, but challenge is about education, about execution. So it's really all about execution. And just one last point about Africa. So Africa is a last frontier with population of 1.4 billion people, and it's a huge opportunity for India. If India is going to grow economically and become a leading economy in the world in the next 10, 20 years, the focus has to be on Africa because of resources, because of population, because of size, because of growth opportunities. And India already has advantage. If you look at many African countries, Indian population controls economies of those countries. If you look at Nigeria, if you look at Kenya, Tanzania, Uganda, Malawi, including South Africa, very strong population. So basically, those are a few points I want to make. It's really about making India an entrepreneurial society. Education is the most important, fundamental. Without education, there's no job creation, there's no development, there's no sustainable livelihoods, there's no employability, there's nothing. It's foundation of everything. India is considered as a human capital of the world, but by addressing few of these things, I think India will continue to grow and overtake some of these leading economies. India has become currently now, it's a large population in the world, and largest economy, with fastest economic growth at 6%, So I think India has become unstoppable. Yeah. Okay. That's from my side. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Marco. Unfortunately, we've run out of time, so we can't do Q&A, but we've had a great panel over here with a very diverse set of experiences, and that's why they shared some tremendous insights. I would like to thank the panelists, and with that, close the session. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bajaj. May I request you to kindly hand over a token of appreciation from CII to each of our panelists, please. May I request all the panelists with their takeaways to please come and stand for a photo opportunity. It would be nice. Yes. I think we have one for you also, Mr. Bajaj. Mr. Bajaj, we have one for you as well. Well, we have another one for you. Ladies and gentlemen, with that, we come to a close of this session. We'll have the next session soon after we've set the stage. Thank you for being with us. Please remain seated.